If by some chance, some stroke of luck, or some act of God, you have stumbled upon this broadcast, you are listening to the Chivalry Chronicles with your host, DLH, David, and me, Jaime. I hope you're ready, because I know we are. So let's get into it. Yay! So
Yes.
DLH is back. Everyone rejoices. Good afternoon, gentlemen. It's good to see y'all.
You seeing
David?
them, Jaime?
I
don't
see them.
anybody.
Damn.
I see a couple mics in front of us and two ugly guys. That's about a bit.
Always waiting to
Hey.
get a word in.
I see you. So I know we've had some discussion about, hey, who's David and who's DLH? So DLH, do you want to introduce yourself again so that people know who you are?
Not really.
So this is DLH talking.
That's me
right
talking.
now.
Yes.
Right.
And if you listen to the distinguished tone, we'll call it
Cadence, yeah.
of talk. Yeah, there's a distinct difference.
There is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
between-
I'm the one that shows up, and you're the one that
Oh,
doesn't.
wow.
Yeah,
wow.
but it-
Shots fired.
But it takes you twice as long to get the same thought out. So
True that. It's a lot
Yeah,
of
it does
time.
it.
Like we spent like an hour 15
Yeah.
for his 15-minute point.
Or
So I
we
have
wait
to-
we
I
wait a
have to
good 45
strategically-
minutes before we even start a podcast because somebody can't get the mic levels correct.
I have to strategically miss so that I give y'all time to just catch up to what we need to be doing
Right.
for the mic and for thoughts.
I guess. So along the lines, today we're going to talk about things every man should own, specifically when you get your own home. So I know that was a discussion after one of our alumni meetings. We just were talking about it. Say, hey, let's put it on the podcast. So, DLH, is there things that you should own as a man when you buy your own home? Or move out. Just move out of your dad's home.
You know what? Universally, maybe even before you're thinking about it, you own a home, definitely, but tools. That's I think there's a general one. It's just
Which tools?
tools. Now, if we're going to start running through like categories, I would say that the three, when I think about it, because I carry a multi-tool. Multi-tool doesn't have a hammer, but it has all the other things in there.
Yours
So-
doesn't?
Yeah,
Man,
well,
you
if you get, there is a multi-tool that comes with the hammer, but then that becomes really big in your pocket to carry it with you. But I think the ones that are essential are there's a hammer, a screwdriver, and notice I said screwdriver, not drill. Drill will come later if you got the money. By all means, do it. It comes with all the different things. But initially, you need a hammer, you need a screwdriver.
Just one
Which one?
screwdriver?
The Phillips? Phillips or flathead? If you know what, if you had to choose one, the Phillips or the
what?
flathead, which one are you going with?
Okay, now you're gonna get me on my soapbox. The flathead screwdriver is nonsense. The fact that it was even created is just asinine.
But do you
right?
need it?
You don't. I don't think you need it because if you get really if push
you have a
comes to
nail?
shove and you got a butter knife or something like that, it'll do the flathead as long as it's
But is
not
that the
too-
correct
too
tool?
much in there. It's not. But now, like in more in our modern society, Phillips is more the one that
Absolutely.
that is used.
No, I agree
So
with
if
that.
you had to choose, but screwdrivers are so cheap, you can get one of each. I don't think it's that.
Just get the whole set for $20, dog.
And if you are gonna pay attention to screwdrivers, if you can find some that actually are not even more expensive, but the ones that are also safe for electrical work, they absorb the
Or the ones with the magnetic tip.
yeah. That
Those
holds
are
on to
awesome.
the-
You guys are
yeah.
getting too expensive.
Well,
Too
No,
expensive.
it's not. It's not
The
expensive.
magnetic one gets a little more expensive, but the ones that are for electric, like if you wind up doing electrical work, because they work forever.
Oh, you will have to do electrical work.
You
if
will have to. I mean, you shouldn't, but you're going to.
Yeah, you want to
Essentially,
save
it's
some
gonna
money.
happen. Make sure you turn off the breaker switch when you do that.
The breaker is that big panel in
That's
your
a big-
garage,
that's a
in
big
your
well,
kitchen, in
sometimes
your
it's-
washroom.
Sometimes it's hidden.
Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, those are the ones I would say that a hammer, because that comes in handy all the time, especially if you're using it in multiple ways, like a stud finder.
A stud finder is great.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
I don't mean the stud finder. I mean like when you use the hammer as a stud finder.
Oh my God.
Now,
Lord
because
help this man.
because now, if you can afford the stud finder, get the stud finder.
It's cheap.
But if you can't, and you had to pick the top tools, you need a hammer, you need a screwdriver. If you can get both the flathead and the Phillips, then do that.
I would trust neither one of you with a freaking hammer
and
to
you
be
need
a stud
and
finder.
you need pliers of some kind.
Pliers, exactly,
Right.
yeah.
And then after that, you start getting fancy with like a tape measure.
A tape measure is necessary, sir.
It is, but I would say that that's number 4. Everything else you can actually find.
So you're
creative
just
ways to work it out.
discussing tools in general.
Yeah. Either way, you need tools.
But
Tools you gotta have.
the topic is things, so it's not just tools, right?
Yeah, right. Absolutely.
Okay.
No. But
Okay.
I would say that because
For tools, you got that covered.
because you're going to use like even if you come in later on with I don't know, barbecue pit, like whatever it is, if something breaks, you're going to wind up fixing it. Tools essentially are going to be the things that you're going to need universally, regardless of what.
Right.
It is.
And I think to add on to the tools, I think sockets, that type of stuff, because even if you want to change the battery in your car, you need something other than a screwdriver and a hammer.
But a wrench works.
Well, you can get a wrench.
This is why I'm saying. Okay, so and then just to
Okay, so
But
so,
some people can strip
But
the
I
crap
talked
out
about
of
now wait a minute. Yeah, because I think
No,
budget
but we didn't
is
talk about
really
on the budget. We
what
just
it
said
is.
things you need.
So I think probably all of us would agree if there was only one tool you could pick, it's going to be a hammer, right? Would y'all agree with that? If you could only choose one tool, yeah.
No, you can't just choose one tool.
I would go.
No,
multi-
well, I
impossible.
know you can't, but this is a hypothetical question. So you can only get one tool that you're going to go into do whatever.
Probably a
You don't know what-
screwdriver then.
You're gonna
I
go
would
with the
think. I think you
screwdriver?
use a
No,
screwdriver
but I
more.
mean, if we're counting multi tools, I would go multi tools.
Yeah, I have a
Because
multi-tool,
they-
Yeah,
so
but
that
comes
that
with
covers.
all those.
I mean that takes away from the hypothetical. I said one tool. That's a multi-tool. There's multiple tools on it.
It's one tool though.
No, but the reason I say that is because obviously when you purchase your first home or you're just looking at tools in general, tools can get really expensive really quick. So
I know, but
if you
I
really
think
have
we're
to narrow it down.
I think we're getting off topic.
Well on tools.
So the topic is when you buy your own home, these are the tools you need, or these are the
Well,
things you
said
need.
Tools.
No, I said things. Things every man should own. Okay.
All right.
So
Well,
tools is one. Like
yeah,
you should have
yeah,
tools.
yeah, we
I mean that's just the way it is. You should have tools.
You should
and
definitely have
you should definitely start with a hammer, screwdriver, a
Some sort of
plier,
wrench or pliers.
a wrench,
Yeah.
maybe some sockets, and then you can get
Sockets,
crazy after
tape
that.
measure, and then after that, it's really a
Yeah. I mean, what else do you need when you buy a home? When you buy a home and you move into your own home, what are the tools that are essential, like you need?
Now you said tools, so just want to make sure that we're sticking on that.
Okay.
Well, I think we just mean items.
Items.
Okay.
Things.
Only
Originally
'cause-
was
just wanted
things.
to make that.
Okay.
Just want to make that clear. So, of course, outside of tools, I think a thing that's really important is a dang sofa or a legit place to sit down.
No, but that's furniture.
Okay.
No, I know it, but you
But-
said
but
things.
that's-
Now it's things,
Well,
right?
now that's worth saying. If we're talking about,
But
whether
you assume that you
when
have
you
a
own a
house and
home,
it's
Well, I assume
furnished.
you have
And then you
you have
furnish it.
tools
yeah.
too.
It's
so you have your bedroom furniture is set, even if it's just
yeah.
simple,
You have
right?
you need
Nightstand,
curtains.
bed,
I
curtains.
get all that. I'm talking about guy
You
shit.
got a sofa, you got a TV.
You gotta have a sofa, and I say that specifically because whenever I moved from Amarillo
You
to
don't need a sofa.
San Antonio,
Yeah,
Milk
you don't
crates
need-
work
you
just
start,
fine.
you start realizing there was like not a full month, but there was a delay from when the shippers were gonna bring all our stuff from Amarillo to San Antonio, and not having a legit place to sit as I needed to
Okay.
freaking.
Well, maybe I need to
get my
rephrase
bearings?
this. No, I need
Yeah,
to rephrase
because-
this.
because
I
there's chairs,
assume.
there's futons,
No,
there's-
I assume that your home is fully furnished. Like you have a stove.
Absolutely.
You have a refrigerator. You have a bed set. You have sofas. That's taken care of. I'm talking about the stuff that men need to do what men do, right? So in my head, it was like, you need a grill. You need tools. You need a lawnmower.
Okay.
You know, you
Now,
need.
I start to think about these things also from monetary standpoint, are we going like in general, or are we pretending like we got the the money to do whatever we're doing?
So no, I think, well, the other thing I think that we need to say is that you acquire them over a certain amount of time. You're not gonna, unless you just are independently wealthy, you're not just gonna buy all these things all at once. I think so. Which are the things that you bought when you first moved out of your home, graduated from college, moved out of your home? I don't know if you were married before then or whatever. What are the things that you're like, man, I don't have that. I need this. That before, like, you would go in your dad's garage and you just pick out a tool because he had everything, or your dad had a grill. The conversation started because, so I was telling David, when we bought a home, my wife and I moved to San Antonio, bought a home here. I was like, I need a grill. I'd never grilled before, so I called my oldest brother and I said, okay, how do I do this? And so he walked me through it. And I thought, man, like, I had never done this. So those are, I felt like, as a man, you need a grill at some point, right? Tools, I knew. Like, I bought those. I went out and bought all the tools that I needed. But a grill, I had no idea. I'd never grilled. My dad always grilled. And when he didn't grill, my older brother grilled. When I was in college, you always have someone that grills. Like, you go to parties, people are grilling. Like, they never said, hey, Jaime, get on the grill. Because I'd have been like, yeah, you might want someone else on that thing.
Well, definitely in Texas, because when I moved back to Texas, I lived in New York State for 13 years, and in New York City for 10 of those. And of course, you don't grill over there. You go to where
you don't grill in New York.
No, because there's no, like, I lived in Manhattan. There is no space to do that.
Not even with one of them little.
You cannot do
small
a
kettle.
hibachi because the fire code, and actually the fire code, I think, is very similar here. You have to have an open fire at least 30 feet away from a structure.
Really?
Yeah. So we can't do, and all we had was our little fire escape thing.
Yet another reason New York sucks.
No, it was great. You just can't grill there.
Wow, I didn't know that. Thank you for that.
So you couldn't do any of that. So when we moved back to Texas, right, and then we got here, and initially we were in a rental household. We were looking for wherever we were going to buy our house. But as soon as we moved into the rental, it was like in the first week or two, my father-in-law, he came over, right? And
where's the grill?
My in-laws. and I guess he noticed it. He didn't ask. He just noticed that it wasn't there. And the next time they came over, he was like, hey, can you come and help me unpack this thing or whatever? And he bought me a grill.
That's
awesome. It was required to be in that space. And I was like, all right, cool, thanks. So I put it together. And then I was like, is this because this is what we're supposed to have? Or is it because now that I'm here, you're not going to do any of that work and you're putting it on me? And it might have been both. Yeah.
So I think that's awesome that your father-in-law?
Yeah.
That your father-in-law recognized that. Like, to me, that is a father passing down, like, he needs this. Yeah. So that definitely is on this list because another man told you needed it.
Right. Yeah.
So it's kind of a community thing, like, you know what I'm saying? So when I called my brother, he's like, he laughed at me because, we've talked about my oldest brother. He's the ultimate alpha male. And so he's like, what? You don't have a grill? Like, so he had to give me shit about it. But then he told me, like, okay, get the grill, get the charcoal, do this, and then get it going. But to me, like, when another man tells you need this, I think it kind of goes on the list.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and especially now because of the things I've learned about grilling for steaks and everything with reverse searing or direct heat versus indirect heat.
Oh my God, it's ridiculous.
It opens up a whole.
I hate that I've gone into it, and what made it even worse, one of our fraternity brothers is like the ultimate griller, Pete, right? And he grills every time we get. He's really good. I will not disparage this man. He is awesome, Pete. If you're listening,
much love for you, Pete.
Yeah, he's great. So I asked him because I got rid of my gas grill, which I've had for 10 years, and I was gonna go back to charcoal, right? And then so Pete just obliterated that idea. He's like, "Oh, you should go a pellet grill," and I was like, "What?" Like I hadn't even looked at that, and so now I go back to the drawing board and erase everything I had, and then look up pellet grills because now I got to look that up. So to me, it's like that's a good one. Like that to me is up at the top.
Yeah, whatever your preference.
Well,
David?
and when Pete was bringing that up too, I think it's for me, having a like propane grilling is just cooking outside. There's no added change in the taste of the food, whereas delivering
Don't
it
tell
with charcoal
people that.
or doing it with wood.
No. So I think
I think it tastes the same. If I
No,
cook it
it
inside, the
doesn't.
only difference
No,
is
it
my house
doesn't.
doesn't smell.
No, it doesn't.
With all of them, see now we're getting into the minutia.
We're getting into grills.
But
yeah.
I think that when you're cooking, if your flame is not right and you get it too high, right? Because if you put the propane too high, you put the heat too high, and the meat is too close to it, you do catch that gassy taste in the meat.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So there is a science to that. We'll leave that open
Yeah,
to whoever.
okay.
Just get your grill.
Get a grill.
Sort it out. You have the benefit nowadays of YouTube to figure out how to do all
Yes.
this stuff on in a well-educated way, which we didn't have back then. Back then we just had to figure it out.
No, we had to figure it out.
Yeah. But that does lead me into my next one. I do want to
Okay.
say this one right here and it's a bit ambiguous, but I do think it's necessary. Is we'll just call it a man space, right? Some people might call it
A man cave, yeah.
But man cave,
A she shed?
Man cave gets a little bit more into affordability.
Okay.
Right? So, because if you can afford it and your house has the space for you to do that.
We are currently in my man cave right now
Yeah.
that has been infiltrated by my wife. I told her, I said, this is the only room I have in this house that has anything that's
just for
mine.
me, right, to stay
And
out.
you're moving in, and I gotta get you out.
Yeah.
I gotta put the I gotta stop it right
Yeah.
there.
So we got,
And she said okay, and moved more stuff in.
well, I'm just going to house
No,
this.
she didn't move stuff. She said, "Hey, you move your stuff."
Yeah,
in.
that's right.
It's still your space. I'm just going to
Yeah, we're
some
gonna
things in
we're
it,
gonna borrow it a little bit.
Yeah, that winds up being my office at home. But that was the thing is when we moved into our house now, I do have an office there, and oftentimes it winds up either housing some things where we don't yet know where they're going to go, or
Right.
some things that require assembly, and I haven't yet put it together.
Yeah.
Or every time the kids have a broken toy and they bring it into my workshop.
I know.
Air quotes for that one, workshop. But anyway, I do get to go in that space. Right now, it's in transition because I'm adding more elements to it. But now because I was using it for doing my my schoolwork, my doctoral things when I was writing, that would be my space to be apart. But now I get to use it with a TV in there, which is what I'm doing now. So when I want to watch football games and things like that no
Right.
one else wants to watch, I get to go into my space with a chair that I have selected and whatever drink or whiskey
Yeah.
or bourbon that I'm drinking.
Well, it's I didn't even think about that one. That's a great one. So, but David, like you have every like your whole house is a man cave, I would assume.
Yeah, your whole
'Cause
house is a man
So
cave.
how does that change for you?
Well, the thing that I was going to bring up, and it falls into I guess a man cave, but you got to set your identity whenever you move into your home. Like there's got to be something that
Not if you're
gravitates to
married.
you. If you're married, it becomes like, let's say, a man cave. And even like me, like whenever I moved into the home that I'm in now, I wanted to decorate it in the sense of it's got to be me. I didn't want it to be like overly bachelor pad. Like I'm not in my freaking 20s or anything like that. So I didn't want it to look like that. But I think it's important to have elements.
But
that
you always
just-
come out with your bathrobe every time we go over there with a pipe and like young Hugh Hefner.
And one or two nights staring down.
Yeah, my choice would be you gotta set the identity for your home.
Yeah.
That has your signature on it.
Well, see, so if I go back to my father-in-law, right? The house that they bought a house here in San Antonio to be closer to my kids, really, right? Their grandkids. So they did that, and in the space there was an extra room that I think he could have taken over, but instead, because my mother-in-law likes to do art and all that other stuff, he turned it into an art studio for
Boo.
right.
Boo on that.
So he has two distinct spaces, and neither one of them is a created man cave. He does two things. When he goes out and he grills, he put the like lawn furniture, turf down, so he doesn't have to mow the grass.
Yeah.
He put turf down. He put lawn furniture. He has the ashtrays over there.
Yeah.
He sits right like next to the grill. There's a small space where his grill is set up, and he'll be grilling whatever it is, and with a cigar in hand and a drink in the other, and he sits on his patio furniture back there in the backyard. And then whenever he wants to, I guess invite my mother-in-law, he turns on the backyard lights or whatever. She comes out, joins him,
absolutely.
both relax back there. But essentially, he goes back there a lot when he's grilling and just stays there back there on his own. The other spot, which sometimes when we go over and we see him, is when we pull up in the driveway and he just has the garage door open and he's playing his music right on a small bench. He's in a corner of the garage, but the door is open. He's smoking a cigar and he has a drink and he's playing music and he just sits there by himself and he watches the neighborhood.
That is the greatest thing ever. Like,
we've got two neighbors that do that.
Yeah, and I think it's like, sometimes when you want just a time to yourself.
Yeah.
I tell my wife, I need to go fix something, and I go break something, and then fix it in the garage. Just sit there and just smoke a cigar. I know one day I was messing with the bike, the motorcycle, right? I was messing with the carburetor, and it was 2 a.m., and I was smoking a cigar, drinking beer, just cleaning the carburetor, and my wife opens the door. She's like, "What are you doing?" It's 2 a.m., and I'm like, this is awesome. This is like, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes you do need some time. So the man cave or just your space is, that's a great one.
I got one that kind of tags along the lines of a man cave, but different. And that is you gotta have drinkware. You gotta have your correct drinkware based on what you drink. So if it's beers or whatever, you gotta have your koozies. Your different types of koozies.
Okay.
If it's bourbon, you need to have the right glasses that complement it or anything.
I think that's later on. I think that's 20, 30 years into it because I don't think you had drinkware.
No, I don't think so.
Maybe it might be age specific because I think definitely when I was in my 20s, I didn't care what vessel I was drinking.
Absolutely not. Those red Solo cups were real huge in college.
Whatever you want, put it in that fits this drink, and like that kind of thing. But I think now that I'm in my 40s. Yes, I have a vessel for everything.
Agreed.
I have a separate vessel for when I'm drinking canned beer. I have one for when I have to pour it into a mug. I have a specific mug for that.
You have the mug in the freezer that you pull out.
Because you got to be a refined gentleman.
It's my frosted mug that you put in there specifically for that. But I have one for when I'm drinking whiskey versus the others when you're drinking wine.
I mean, you have to have wine glasses, but that's...
But it's so... My added context is by the time you are getting a house, I think the drinkware does start coming in. At that time, you're old enough.
I mean, are you getting a house at 40 and shit?
No.
I bought a house at I think it was 25, and I didn't have shit for a drinkware.
But whenever I did, you have people come over. I mean, you don't want to just be tossing them a red Solo cup, like... Especially if you're at that point, because most people
right out the can or the bottle.
Right out of the can.
Most people, whenever they're buying a home, it's usually they're married, right? So by that time, you're going to be a little bit more refined than just saying, I think there's a Fruity Pebbles cup that I picked up at the game. That you can
Those
drink
are perfectly fine to drink out of.
Well, you know what? I think if we were going to segue it, right? Because if we're talking more old school,
it's not necessarily old school.
Well, no, if we're talking about the distinction, right? Because most of the time in old school, we got married. I don't think that our focus was necessarily buying a house as an individual person. Nowadays, it is.
Yeah.
Right. You do want to go out and buy a house. Ideally, you have one already either purchased or in mind before you go and get married and do all that stuff. But I think if you're planning for the future, then yes, you should be making those smart purchases along the way. You should have the drinkware, and essentially you're setting up the life and the culture that you want to live.
Absolutely.
So part of
them
your
are needed.
No,
none of them are
absolutely.
really needed.
I think the drinkware is probably falls into more your wedding registry. Because I know when I got married, we did have wine glasses as part of it, and some people did buy wine glasses, like the fancier cups and stuff like that. But I mean, I didn't have the little bourbon, little glasses and stuff like that till later.
Now, and I didn't either because I drank beer. I mean, beer is more simplistic, but whenever I'm saying drinkware, I'm also talking about like having some dang koozies ready to go.
Oh,
People come
koozies
over,
are. Hey man, that came from college, dog. You got all kind of koozies.
Well, I mean, all of that starts coming into play.
You're off this. You're off that ship.
I don't like using because the koozies. I think that they are unrealistic.
DLH is holding up a koozie and just stated he doesn't like koozies.
And yet he's using a koozie.
No.
He's using a koozie.
But the difference between them, I have right now I'm holding a Brewmate one. Right.
No, don't say that name until they sponsor. They sponsor. We'll say it.
We may have to say it so they sponsor.
Okay. Yeah, true.
Right
true.
now, I'm holding up a Brewmate one, and this one is an insulated one that fits multiple types of cans.
I subscribe to the Frost Buddy. If you want to sponsor me, Frost Buddy. I bought everyone I know a Frost Buddy.
But when you get these ones that are like the neoprene,
those are just great to keep in your back pocket or your truck, man.
These are simply emergency, and the only reason I have them in there is so the condensation didn't get on the rest of the stuff.
So for the record, you still use them?
I do not use them when I'm drinking.
But you have them
out of it. Because it makes the can unbalanced. Every time you sit it down, it wobbles.
But is it yours?
I got one right here. We can test it out.
No, I'm good.
Just pick this up.
You can have this one because I already drank the beer.
I'll add it to my drinkware.
They are useless to me.
All right, so beyond drinkware, so let's get back on task. Yeah. Is there another one, David, that you had other than drinkware?
Well, I had because I technically had two. So go ahead.
No. I mean,
drinkware was one to kind of separate from man cave, and then I don't even remember what I had before.
Okay,
but I did have one before. One that I was going to throw out was lawn equipment.
Okay. Yes, yeah, that's a good one. Like if you have a home, I would assume you have a lawn, and so you would have a lawnmower. It could be like our first house. The whole back end of the house was all concrete, but we still had a yard that was about 10 by 12. Yeah. But you still need at least a weed eater.
Also in the context of like what society has put traditionally, the man is the one that's supposed to be doing the outdoor.
According to my wife, anything outside the house is mine.
Not anything, because do you do the gardening?
We don't have a garden.
Well, if you did, right?
We're saying essential.
Because if it came to that,
Essentials.
it's like, well, you're also doing like whatever. Well, because sometimes depending on who
it's Christmas lights. It's
it's outdoor stuff.
Yeah, it's outdoor
stuff.
Down to
outdoor stuff.
Now let's say
it's replacing light bulbs that are on the outside, like everything outside.
I'm good with everything.
It's getting the mail.
But when you have a wife or significant other or whatever that says, "But I want a garden," are you going to do that?
We'll be back after a quick break.
If you're in the greater San Antonio area, we have an event for you this October. The Omega Delta Phi San Antonio Alumni Association will be hosting its 12th annual Halloween-themed Fall Festival. It will be held at the Boys and Girls Club located at 615 Peacock Avenue near the historic Woodlawn Lake. This is a free, family-friendly event filled with games, prizes, music, a costume contest, food, and a haunted house. If you need more information, go to our website at odphisanantonio.org and then click on Fright Night. You're probably throwing the piecework together.
Probably doing everything
going, except the planning.
If you
right?
need something built to do that, I got you.
Yeah, no.
But
that's
planning,
definitely
I don't know nothing about that, and I don't want to know.
Now, I have bought her plants and then built the stuff around it to have her plants, but she waters them. So it's not a garden, but she does have stuff.
See, I bought plants too, but I had to be given a list of names and then go.
Oh no, I just went and picked like I went to Home Depot and I said, "Give me stuff that doesn't die quickly," and they said perennials. They said
perennials.
They're all sending you to the plastic plant.
They go to sleep and then they come back alive.
Yeah.
Oh, look,
So she does that, but lawn equipment is good, like a lawnmower. a weed eater,
Absolutely.
edger, probably a blower, and those are the 4 essentials. But if you really couldn't do anything, probably the weed eater can take care of most of everything if
It
you
takes
know how to
long.
do
It
it.
could.
Yes,
I
you
have
could.
I have a neighbor that maintains his yard really well.
Yeah.
But he does it all with a
You
weed
gotta
eater.
do
So-
it a lot.
Yeah.
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 Often.
So I worked for my dad in a company that we mowed lawns, and so I can do just about anything with a goddamn weed eater. So I think a weed eater is perfect, but I do have all of them, and they were actually. My dad came to my house and he saw my lawn. And the next time he came with a lawnmower, a weed eater, and an edger. He's like, "Yeah, you need to." Yeah, it was
Shame.
bad. It was
Okay.
bad.
Now, when you get into these again in order, you absolutely need a lawnmower.
Yeah,
That's number 1. What's number 2?
weed eater
Weed eater.
takes care of everything else.
Yeah, I would agree.
A
3
weed eater
is
can
what?
take care of the edger, and then
Okay,
a blower.
yes. Because and then one, and even if you can't,
A
or
broom
don't wanna
does
buy
it, yeah.
Well, you got a broom, but you can also just take the lawnmower on the sidewalk.
Yeah, and
the
then
air-
push it out. Yeah,
Yeah. So
and then you'd be an ass.
Or you put
There you go.
or you put the bag on the back of the lawnmower and it kind of will suck those
Yeah.
the grass.
yeah, but then
clippings.
you have to dump
or if you're
it
allergic
and-
to everything and you got the money, just hire somebody.
So
Gets it done.
that's the other thing. You can hire people to do this, but people like probably the people in this room are probably going to make fun of you if you hire
Absolutely.
someone.
Absolutely.
If you hire someone,
Because
so
I
what-
mean, you could technically
won't-
hire somebody to take care of all the
All-
stuff that
everything.
you need with tools, right?
I'll
But-
try not to do it to your
Yeah.
face, though. I'll try.
So
Now,
so what
now,
I did.
DLH, did you plant synthetic grass? Or when I say plant, did you lay synthetic grass? Was it you?
Oh, turf?
Yeah.
No, his
Yeah.
dad did. His father-in-law.
No.
No, but at
did
his
it.
house too.
Oh, you did.
Yeah,
Yeah.
at my house but it's a certain area that like between the house and our driveway that we wanted to use as like a sort of patio space where we can put lawn furniture down.
Yeah.
And then a dedicated space where our dog, when we let him out in the backyard, doesn't go.
Yeah.
So I had to put up another fence to partition that off from the rest of the yard, and then I laid the turf down to do that. So it's a specific space
Gotcha.
for that. But yeah, I got
Now, I mean, what you said you had 2 in the bag. What you got?
For items.
Yeah.
Well, I want to continue with
The synthetic lawnmower, yeah. Or
No,
the
no,
synthetic
not
grass,
that.
or what?
No.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
you
No.
can zero skate. For anybody listening, if you can zero skate,
I know.
save yourself a
No,
lot of
no.
heartache and zero skate.
My family my wife has family in Tucson, and when we visited over there, we went over there for almost 3 years, every year, and they do all kinds of synthetic stuff because it's Arizona, over there. So I hey, do what you do. Like I don't mind that.
Still got to do work outdoors though.
Excuse me.
You still got to do work outdoors though.
You got to do something. But so, but getting back to our list, you do need lawn equipment, and we were saying if you hire someone, which for a time, I did have someone hired because the boo. Yes, I'll take it. I did because what I do whenever I look at something, I was like, how long is it going to take me, and how much is this guy charging?
Yeah, how much
And
do I
is
make an
my
hour? And does
time
that- yeah.
is my time worth that much?
Oh no, I definitely do that, but I don't do it with lawn usually. Most of the time, I do that with if anything is like plumbing and electrical, the things where you're like,
Yes.
because I also got to weigh in
Electrical,
what happens if I screw
plumbing,
this up?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
then-
that's me 100%.
And tree trimming, because
me,
tree
100%.
trimming,
Yeah.
I paid an ungodly amount. I wish my dad worked. I mean, I wish my dad lived in San Antonio because I would pay him double to
Yeah.
do some of this stuff. But I did. We did have a guy come in and he was super cheap, and I was like, cool. But then when my son got old enough and he was probably like 12, I was like, okay.
Got to do
And
something.
I think I called David and I said, David, I need a lawnmower, and he had a hookup. Because at the time I had a gas lawnmower forever, and that's the one I would use. But it would take me, almost 2 hours to do everything. And this guy would come in and do it in like half the time because he had 2 or 3 guys with him, and he would charge me $40. And I'm like,
With 2 guys?
yeah. And I'm like, you're in. Like
How long did it take him to cut it?
about an hour.
Oh,
because
really? Wow.
he'd come in with the big tractor.
Yeah,
And then just do everything, and it'd be done.
Yeah, but still, $40 with 3 people.
Yeah, that's
Well, no,
cheap
that was
for
a long
your
time
yard.
ago. So about
okay. Yeah.
6 years ago is whenever my son started doing it. I taught him how to do it, and I said I need a cut every 2 weeks. So we talked about that before, and that's how he earned a little bit of money, and that's how I paid someone. But I'm paying my son.
Yeah,
Well,
that's how I got introduced
Yeah.
to lawnmower. Well, at first it was all free.
I'm there now too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My
So-
son who's 13.
Yeah.
And he wants money, and that's what we do now. Go cut the yard and trim it
Absolutely.
and all this other stuff, and then he gets paid for that, so he can do whatever he wants. Okay.
So-
So,
so when
now I have paid lawn care.
Yeah. So I wanted to make that distinction.
Yeah.
You can pay someone, and it's okay if it's your.
But
yeah,
as
if
a man,
it's-
you still need that
Yes,
outdoor stuff.
but it's also I don't know that I would categorize that as like paid lawn care when it's your son, because
It is paid though.
Yeah,
It's money coming
you
out of
are
my
paid,
account.
But we are also trying to teach them the things that we learned along the way, and we had to do it for free.
We did it for free.
We did it for free.
I did it for free whenever I had to be told to do it. If I took initiative and mowed the yard on the weekly basis without my dad saying it first, I got $20.
If we took initiative, we just didn't get punished.
No,
yeah.
you didn't get your ass whooped.
But if you did it on your own, then you just were left alone. And you're like,
Yeah,
"Here you go."
like hey, I guess he mowed the lawn.
Yeah, you did your
I won't
job.
kick his ass
Good for
today.
you.
Yeah. So I was telling my cousin. I said she asked me, so how much do you pay your son? And I think at the time I was really lowballing him, and I was paying him $20. And she's like, "What? It's $20
living on the streets."
Yeah. And she's like, it should be $50. And I said, it could be $0, because that's what. And she's like, "Well, you're right." Because her dad did the same thing.
I think
so,
that's plenty. That's what I pay aside.
so he's moved up. I think we pay him $40 now. Like that started 2 weeks ago. But I said you have to do everything. You have to do lawn, the lawn, pick up everything in the yard, weed eating, edging, and the whole nine. And I said, and if I have an issue with it, then you got to redo it. So plus he's freaking 17, so
and
you
I
should
think
be
that's
doing
the difference.
it. Yes,
Ages and stages, right?
Yeah.
I pay him now for the concept of making money, but he doesn't know the full value of money. So when you're younger, do that. It's about the process.
And what's funny is now he'll mow the lawn. And he's like, "Go ahead and transfer that money over." Like he doesn't do cash. I don't know if y'all have gotten to that stage, but these kids do not do cash.
Well, actually,
he's like, "Dad, transfer that money into my account." And then actually my son now is working for a restaurant, and he's a busser, right? And he gets paid tips, and sometimes he'll get paid cash, or they give him cash, and he's like, "Dad, I have like $60."
Don't say that out loud. You're gonna have to report it.
Yeah. So
Too late now.
hypothetically. So anyway,
Over
he'll
the
say,
last year.
he says, "I have like $60. Can I just give it to you, and then you can transfer the money?" And I was like,
Didn't know how to
"Sure,
deposit it.
Sure. Just give me the money, and I'll
Actually,
transfer."
I'm exactly there. SI does
Yeah.
that all the time. I got birthday money, or I got
Yeah.
He was over watering my in-laws' plants, and he made money, and he was like, "Hey, if I could just give you the money, can you just put it into my account?"
I don't understand
I do the
that.
same thing with Isaiah, but that kid, he's not really motivated by money. Like he'll just hand me the cash because I told him, "Hey, I got you." We went to the credit union, got set up on his account and all that other stuff, and we put money in there. He never asked about it or anything. So he'll get money and he'll just hand it to me and just.
Well,
Goes to deposit
so
it.
he's 14.
Anyway.
Yeah, he's 14.
Okay,
I
so
know
it's-
it'll
it's
kick
coming.
in, especially
Yeah,
whenever
when he
a
starts
car comes
looking
in
at
and that kind of
girls.
stuff.
He just knows you're going to spend it anyway.
Yeah, true.
So we've hit on a grill. We've hit on power tools. We've hit on lawn tools. I guess wood stuff. I mean that kind of we kind of hit on that with the power tools. Plumbing, we've kind of hit that because you need a wrench, a crescent wrench, that type of stuff, which kind of falls along the lines of tools, because I know when I moved into a house, eventually you have to freaking mess with the toilet.
Yeah,
You know?
but I think that's like
Those are
largely it. Your tools, your grill, you need your space to do all of these things.
Yeah.
Or to house them, right?
So-
and most of the time, if you have a dedicated space in your house, that's one. The garage is essentially kind of your domain. 'Cause
That's
it's-
your space, yeah. So the other thing that I had, now we talked about the man cave, which was a good one. Something that I had to have when I bought a house is like, I need a TV. I need a really good, I can't do the little, 24. I got to watch my sports.
But are you talking about family room TV, though?
No.
No, just
it's in the family room, but it's my TV. That means when I come home,
I'm commandeering and I'm watching whatever I want to watch.
And it was, it used to be a general rule around the house, right? Before we just had one big TV. And then, but now we have kind of TVs everywhere, so it's not that big of a deal. But before, I told my son, I said, when I get home, bounce. Like, I need this TV because one, it had the best sound because I had to have surround sound. I've always had really good surround sound.
Maybe that should be on the list. Surround sound.
That's on mine.
Oh, okay.
TV and surround sound. That's the one.
Now, is that? Are you putting that together, or are you making that two separate?
So
They got to be separate because sometimes the surround sound's not allowed.
So no, it's so in college when I was in college, I went and bought the whole 5.1. I had the rear speakers and all that stuff. So when I graduated and moved to a house, I brought all that stuff with me. I was like, look, I need the surround sound. I need to watch, Star Wars in the full surround sound. Finding Private Ryan or whatever. Like I need the full effect. I need choppers flying over my head, all that stuff. So at our old house, it was one room upstairs, and it was my room. That's where you watch football all day. You watch the Super Bowl. It was all that. So when we moved into this house that we're in, it's the living room, and I made sure that when they built the house, I said, give me. And actually, you'll see them here, metal, like those little plates. Those are all speaker wire. Like this room in here is designed for 5.1, 6.1. So I wanted to have it wired. And so to me, I need full surround sound and a nice TV.
Why you just have plates though?
Well, in here because
just to
I
describe
never
the scene, fellas or folks that are listening. There's
Well,
nothing
because
but wall
I haven't-
plates over that surround sound. I don't see a speaker.
because that's my
Or hear one.
office. So the other two places have speakers. The downstairs have speakers because I wanted to have everything in there. And I just did this one just in case.
So by his own definition, you're not a man until speakers
Yeah.
replace other
No,
places.
so downstairs there's speakers. That's what I'm saying. I have the one room downstairs.
Doesn't count.
Yes, it
is
does.
key in this space.
Do I not have speakers downstairs?
That's not up here though.
Hey, when we were watching TV earlier, you were
What?
playing it from your phone.
What?
Oh man, you're hearing it here first. The truth.
Lies. We had two people that been listening to Trump too long.
Oh my god.
They're eating the dogs. They're eating the cats.
And here's the other thing. So I had to, is a TV and surround sound. I think you do need a good sound system. Now, it's expensive. I get it. A receiver is going to run anywhere between $200 all the way to however much you want to spend. Onkyo, Denon, all that stuff is.
Oh yeah, that's
it's
high end.
it's high end stuff. But speakers, they can get up there too. So you're going to spend anywhere between $1,000 to $2,000 depending on what you get. But you do need a good surround sound. I think so. And that was one of the first things I ever put in the new house. In the old house, I was like, we watch a lot of movies. I watch movies all the time. I watch sports, and I need the whole experience.
Yeah.
The other thing that I have on here is weights. You need them. I mean, sometimes it's you don't have money for a membership. I do have a membership now, but even with COVID, back in 2020, the gym that I went to said we're closed. You can't come here, and so I had to add on to the weights that I had. I had the original. Just you buy a bar and 300 pounds. That's what it comes with. So I had to add on to it and get a squat rack and all that other stuff. But I think weights it's just you got to have that. But that's just me.
Well, I mean, I'm a personal trainer, so you're not gonna hear any argument from me. I have all the equipment at home.
At home?
I have
Yeah.
I have kettlebells. I have battle rope. I have
Yeah, the battle rope that you
I
brought
have
now.
a BOSU, which is for stability and balance, quickness and agility. I have a water rower at home. I have equipment.
But is that essential? Like, would you say that that's something that you need when you buy a house?
I think that when you buy a house, if you have the means to get a dedicated space to do any of that, whether it takes up space in the garage,
Yeah.
or maybe you have an area in the backyard where you can do some of that stuff, I would highly encourage that. I do think that some of the other elements we talked about are a little more higher on the priority list, especially when you're young. But without getting on a soapbox, because when you get older and you lose muscle mass and balance and all those other things, yeah, the older we get, the more important it is for you to continually strength train and to work out.
Correct.
Whether you do that in a gym or you do it on your own at home, do it. So, yeah, I would say that that once you have the priority elements, the tools, the grill,
The grill, yeah.
right, and then like whether it comes before or after, like the entertainment package or whatever.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think that's a matter more of priority and how you live your life and what you prioritize.
And
but essentially, if you're able to do them all in order, like it would just switch the order
Yeah.
of them. But yes, I would say that having something like that.
David, do you disagree with the?
I don't disagree with what the importance of exercising and doing that. It's essential. I totally agree with that. I personally don't have any of that. Well, I do have that equipment,
So
or I've had
So
it
it is
over
essential.
time.
So it is
But
essential.
no, the reason
So you're
I'm
not a man?
The reason I'm saying no, or not kind of saying no,
Get it
is
together.
that I realized it's better for me to physically go to a gym. Like I do a better workout when I go to a gym versus whenever I do it at my house.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
If you can get to a gym or whatever you like to do,
Absolutely.
do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But in an instance where, even if we're talking about pandemic hits
That
and
I think
sort
that
of thing happened,
that changed a lot.
you get to do it on your own, right?
Yeah.
If you wind up, I don't know, let's say that because we're talking about somebody younger who is entering a new career or a different job that now limits the amount of time that they have to do that, you still have it at home. And
Yeah.
just because you're
Well,
doing
but-
that, your workouts don't need to be an hour and a half. You
No,
can do
no,
whatever you
no.
have
I
time for.
get that, but I would also make the argument that you can do some very simplistic stuff that requires just random things at your house.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah. You can be you can
get
sit and
creative.
be
You
fit.
can make shit. I mean, a lot of our general parks. So during the pandemic, whenever you couldn't go to the gym, I picked up running a bit more.
Yeah.
And on a lot of the trails that were here, didn't cost anything. You know, there's pull-up bars. There are different little items there.
And you can do a lot of body weight stuff.
You know,
You can do a lot of
exactly.
things. If you don't mind looking foolish to the neighbors, you can cut your lawn and lunge walk at the same time.
Yeah.
Use that crab walk.
Well, what's funny is that whenever I was going to the doing kickboxing or whatever, I really got into jump roping because I never was any decent at it, and I still can't do any tricks with the jump rope. But I was able to jump rope for 5-10 minutes without stopping.
Well, that's good. Tricks are not necessary.
Now,
Tricks are for kids.
The thing that happened though is I one night I remember I was at my house and I was like, okay, at my ceilings and the space, I got 8-foot ceilings in most of my house.
Boo.
And there was certain spots where it was like, okay, I really can't jump rope here. There's either furniture or something like that. So I went outside.
You skip roped?
And I started jump roping, and then all these cars are passing by, and just
They're honking at you.
my self conscious was like, man, I look like an idiot.
Mira este tontito.
But you're just jump roping.
I know. And I was jump roping like
Oh, look at the tontito. Pobrecito.
so I have that. But yeah, I think there's some very simplistic ways.
Well, you know what?
I don't know.
If you have a manly garage and you're still jump roping, as long as you open the garage door and people can see that you have manly things in there, like, well, I'm not going to think or say nothing because that's a man.
Yeah.
Right. So maybe that's what you need next time is just open your
But
garage door.
but
Oh, I
David
got plenty of
was jumping rope in the skirt though, so so that's what he felt to tell you. So don't do that.
Right.
You know, wear just regular gym equipment. You know, just like shorts
Don't push
and a
that.
T-shirt to say I'm a
We have
man.
women
You know.
Hey, we're about to put that soundbite of DLH in here.
We may have,
We have a soundbite.
women listeners here. There's nothing wrong with jump roping in a skirt.
Maybe. maybe.
Yeah. Unless you're Dave doing it.
Yeah, they're terrible.
'Cause that's just wrong.
So I think you're going to get a lot of that because of COVID changed a lot of things about working out, and here's one of the reasons is because prices for home equipment went all the way up. I mean, it was ridiculous. The stuff that you could spend on for weights were double the price, and so I think people that went through that, which is everyone, you did see a change from going to a gym to doing home gyms. And there's other things, not just weights. There's the other equipment that you can use. But I thought those were pretty good. Anything else that you guys can think of as far as things that you would need as a man when you buy your own home? So we had a grill, power tools, lawn tools like lawnmower and that type of stuff. Man cave, I think was one.
I said drinkware.
Drinkware, which is
Yeah,
still on the
arguably.
fence.
Yeah, you know what? Maybe if we turn drinkware into a bar.
A bar. Okay.
Let's see.
No, it's not.
Yeah,
because
okay.
Because
But you
drinkware-
have you have a full countertop bar?
I do, yeah.
Well, I mean, not the island in the middle of a kitchen or something.
No. I have a bar.
How come you don't? Where's the invite?
Well, I don't know. I just
We've never been to his
Yeah,
house.
man.
It's my bar.
You got that fancy synthetic grass.
It's
you can't even
it's
see
a
it.
VIP
Yeah,
bar.
it's
Like we can't get in there.
Okay, yeah.
No, I have a space in there. They're right across from each other. They're nothing fancy, but
Whatever.
But
you
I
got
have
that synthetic grass,
but
bro.
I have my
It's
I have my
expensive.
space on one side where it's like my coffee bar, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm very serious about coffee. If nobody, if
Yeah,
don't
and you
that
and
about
you
me.
know I like coffee,
Yeah.
and
So
I still don't know.
So I have
Wow.
one side where it's my coffee bar, and actually using my tools, I used some wood from when we had an addition put on our house. I took the old wood from the house, which was constructed in 1936. I took that wood and then I repurposed it and turned it into a coffee mug rack.
Nice.
Yeah, I wouldn't know, bro, because I haven't been there.
It's a big shelf.
So
that
what's
hangs
your
up.
address so all the listeners can go over there and have coffee?
So I have my coffee bar on one side, and then on the other side is where I keep all of the specific drinkware that has all of the other types of glasses. Where I have and then actually a cutting board that I can't bring myself to cut on. I made it. It was one of the only thing I've made in woodwork like that. Well, I made the coffee mug rack, but I made the cutting board, and that I use that as my space to house the bottles that I have there, with a bar mat and then all the drinkware that's there. So I use that whole counter space, even with a specific type of like crushed ice. I have that ice, like an ice maker you do.
Yeah.
But it makes a little pellet ice
Right.
for anybody who likes that, and I make all the drinks there on that.
So then we're adding a bar to it. And then the other thing we had is a TV and surround sound. Is that essential?
Yeah, if we're gonna partition, because we're talking about essential, right? I think that when you get into affordability, right, like you got to have tools, you got to have the lawn stuff, and then at minimum you have to have a space where you can go and be on your own,
Decompress.
right? Yes, and do all of that. I think that those are minimal expectations of a
And then
homeowner, right?
And then the upper echelon, I guess, is the bar.
Yeah,
the
and
TV surround sound.
once you reach a point where you
weights,
can afford it,
yeah.
you upgrade your space. You get any entertainment things that you have. You get the weight equipment. That you
Perhaps
can
a
have on
poker
hand.
room like we have here.
All that stuff. And those are things like you also don't need to have the money to purchase the things if you can find the time within your
Yeah.
space to make it, and then you have pride in that,
Right.
That you've made whatever that item is.
Okay, well, there you have it, folks. Board approved. Here's your list: a grill, power tools, a man cave,
Yeah, or space.
a bar, and TV surround sound later on, and possibly some weights. So those are the things that you need as a man when you basically get your own house. So we
Is it
agree
board
on that?
approved? Is it board approved? I don't know what DLH. What you got?
Yeah, that
You're a
sounds
yes?
great to me. Board approved.
Yeah.
I'm a yes.
Okay, there you go. Board approved. Where's the?
We need the gavel.
We need a
We
gavel.
need-
the gavel. I don't have a sound effect over here. Let me see.
They would, I was
So there you go.
This isn't a wood table. I was trying to do like MVP with the ring.
Yeah. Board approved.
Cool.
Thank you for listening, and I think that's it. That's more like bongos, but
Yeah, it was bongos.
That was
It looked
terrible.
like a drum here.
all right. What's your sign off, DLH? Did you already come up with one?
I don't have one, but for now, I'll just use the sound of my next beer opening.
There you go, David.
Crack is whack. Don't
Crack
eat
is whack,
dogs.
guys.
Don't eat cats.
Y'all have a
Oh my
good
goodness.
y'all have a good weekend. Thank you. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the podcast, please share it with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest from us, you can follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time.